Let's bring in Arash Madani now. There's a sports buffet for you there. Arash, where are you? There he is. Sorry, I know you've been waiting. You've been waiting for 8 minutes.
I'm sliding into the seat the way Sunday Night Football used to start.
Well, Collinsworth, he kind of looked like Jerry Seinfeld when I saw him, by the way, when he started his onstage set. You heard the topics of that buffet. Where are you filling your plate? Starting.
You tell me, Roddy. I'm wide open, man. I'll just say this. This past weekend might have been the best sports weekend of 2020. I don't care what you're a fan of. If you're into pucks, if you're into football, if you're into baseball, the Blue Jays are in a pennant race. If you like tennis like me, you just had, 4 outstanding semifinals on the men's and women's side and the 2 finals. I think that we need to appreciate this, Rod, because come mid-October, we're going to be down to baseball postseason and the NFL, and in November and December, it's just going to be football and nothing else. So let's enjoy it while we have it.
I know. I unfortunately agree. Dupes has a point.
Well, once you get into this buffet, we'll never get a chance, Arash. So tell me, who won the tennis match between you and Dunk? Because I've been playing.
We know who won. How did you win?
Yeah, okay. I've been waiting to get my hands on him on the court. So,
well, it won't take you much to beat him, Darren. I'll tell you that.
All right.
I mean, you talk about somebody who has a long way to go. Old Justin Dunk. 6-1 for those keeping track at home. And yes, Dunk, if you're watching, I'm spiking the football in your face again.
We're going to clip this and we'll spike it on social media too.
Yeah, sounds good. We're going to get to the Vikings soiling themselves against Green Bay, but McCarthy on not taking the points, he is blaming the game from what I read on the call at the end, Jalen Ramsey, Michael Gallup. How did you feel about how the Cowboys' first-year coach, in his debut, muffed it?
Yeah, I just don't understand, Rod. Look, I get that he's got a 5-year contract. I get that he's not on the hot seat. It's his first game as a head coach. But you're getting dominated at the point of attack. At the line of scrimmage, the Cowboys were absolutely getting rocked by Donald and Brockers, and they couldn't do a thing about it. You got a rookie right tackle. You had just lost Cameron Irving. You knew you didn't have him. Points are at a premium. 37 points scored, I believe, at that point. You take the 3. I mean, it's not even a question. It's not like the crowd's a factor, because that wasn't the case at all in that sparkling palace that they had there. I get what Mike McCarthy's trying to do. He's trying to set an attitude as a new head coach. But man, oh man, what Herm said, you play to win the game? Hello. I don't understand the decision.
Yeah, I don't either. And Kirk Cousins was very Kirk Cousins-like. Did you see that coming?
Oh, yeah, of course. He's terrible. Look, you can give that guy starting quarterback money, but he's not a $32 million a year quarterback, and I get that's the going rate for starting quarterbacks, but you're just never going to win with him. So, Rod, here's an interesting one for you. Take Mahomes aside, and maybe Lamar Jackson. Right? This is my philosophy on quarterbacks now, because who are the dominant quarterbacks in the game today? It's Jackson, it's Mahomes, it's Rodgers, I guess Breeze, Russell Wilson. And am I missing a dominant quarterback that you would just want on your team right now that you feel you're in a chance to win the Super Bowl right away with that?
Well, Kyler Murray is just too young. I'd take Cam Newton.
Mm-hmm. So this is where I'm going. My belief is that unless you find a Patrick Mahomes, and even if you do, every 3 years as an organization, you draft a quarterback in the first round. Because you are not going to win a Super Bowl paying a quarterback max money. There has not been a Super Bowl champion paying their starting quarterback max money. Look at the last few years. Patrick Mahomes was on an entry-level contract. Nick Foles was basically the backup quarterback, and Carson Wentz was on a rookie contract. Russell Wilson, when the Seahawks won it, he was still on an entry-level contract. The Brady conversation is different because Brady never played for max. I just don't believe, Rod, that you can win paying your quarterback $32 million or so. And the history backs it up. Even when the Ravens won in February of 2013, Joe Flacco got his money after that. The reason why Kansas City won is because they hit not a home run, a grand slam on Mahomes as the best player in the league on a rookie contract, surrounding himself with ridiculous talent. And the reason why Kansas City's got a shot this year is because Mahomes signed an extension. They didn't rip up the contract, so he's still on his rookie deal. I really believe that if you just draft a quarterback every 3 years, you have him for 5 years on a rookie deal. And maybe 1 year you franchise him and you have him for 6. The Mahomes, the Jacksons, the Rodgers, the Wilsons, the Breeze, they are few and far between. For every 5 of those, there's 27 who aren't. And what ends up happening is the Jay Cutlers and the Andy Daltons and the Kirk Cousins of the world end up getting 27, 28, 30, $32 million. And the rest of your roster is junk. And that's why I believe if I'm an organization, that might be the right way of going about constructing my roster.
Blue Bombers linebacker Micah Awe is writing in, and I see you reading it there. He says, I do remember saying this a couple of weeks ago. It's a team sport. Hey, listen, I agree. Micah, I believe, had said that he thinks linebackers should be the highest paid players on the team. Nobody's saying quarterback isn't the most important position on the team. You're not saying that, right, Arad? You just can't load all your eggs in one basket. But the prevailing...
The wrong guy, right? Look, it's one thing if you believe organizationally that we think, look, and it's a copycat league, right? Think back to when the Giants won those 2 Super Bowls with Eli. They won it because of their pass rush. They won it because Justin Tuck was an animal. So then for a run, it's a copycat league. Everybody started paying pass rushers a bunch of money. Then, corners started making a bunch of money because teams started winning with their secondary, and quarterbacks are going to get paid. Now it's a tight end league. George Kittle just got a pile of money because it was San Francisco and Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Travis Kelce's going to get a pile of money. It's a copycat deal, so that's fine. But if you're going to pay a linebacker, if you're going to pay a tight end, if you're going to pay a pass rusher, if you're going to pay a quarterback, Rod, you have to get it right. You can't blow it. And what so often happens is you make the wrong trade, you make the wrong draft pick, you make the wrong free agent decision, and to make up for that error, you almost double down on that error to justify why you made the first mistake in the first place. You know who doesn't do that? Belichick. And that's why they win. Belichick has no problem unloading a first-round pick who just, he says, they're not good enough, let's go get somebody else.
Yeah, and they're paying Cam under $1 million this year. But you know what? My last couple of points on this is a CFL segue. Rose Henry, you saw viewer in Edmonton, I almost said the team name, Edmonton football franchise fan, said, oh my God, BC Lions. You said copycat league. It's a copycat sport. So Ed Hervey thinks he can go pay Mike Riley the most in the league and then pay everybody else nothing. And how did that work out for them? And that's kind of the pickle that the CFL has themselves in right now in terms of some contracts that aren't that good. But that's one of many problems the CFL is facing right now, as you know.
I'll tell you this much, Rod. There is an issue, speaking of Mike Riley and the BC Lions, there is an issue between player and franchise right now. Mike was owed $400,000, around $400,000 as a report and pass bonus going into camp. 400 G's. They restructured his contract. Mike cannot be a happy camper right now if he's not going to make that money. And when the PA and the league had come to an agreement, pending the government money, all report and passes were going to be paid. There hasn't been much said on this, but I really believe there's some trouble in paradise there with Riley and the Lions, so that something needs to be ironed out. It's not going to happen anytime soon. But I can assure you that Mike Riley will not be happy with that much of his money not coming his way.
That's a pretty big scoop right now. I saw a quote from Zach Caleros just last week that players haven't been paid yet. You saw in the latest news here when they canceled the season that the teams would be applying to the government on behalf of the players for wage subsidy or CERB, whatever you want to call it. Do you know anything about players being paid? Riley aside, I mean, that's a big contract to pay out. $2,000 a month's not going to cover Mike Riley's bills, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, no, and I haven't followed it to be quite honest on that front. But Zach's right. I mean, what has the league really done for the players, Rod, other than offer them an opt-out?
Now, as far as we know, they're supposed to be getting money, but I haven't heard of that happening. And lastly, was Strevler going to Arizona? Obviously, I think we're all happy for him. Some people wrote into our Instagram and said they're not. Some people don't want to see these players allowed to go to the NFL, which just is asinine thinking. What a great marketing ploy for the CFL to have Strevler doing his thing in Arizona.
Absolutely. And it's only good for the player. It's only good for the league. It's only good for the exposure of the league, for the, a reminder of what's going on up here, that there's real talent north of the border. And I mean, it's just ridiculous to say, "What? Don't let the players go down there." You don't have a league playing right now. These guys are supposed to have a chance to make a living. So good for Chris Strevler, good for the CFL. And Rod, I think it's just going to be more and more. I really believe that. And at a time where who knows what's going to happen next year. But here's what we saw yesterday. We saw teams with new coaches and new quarterbacks go 2-5, and/or new quarterbacks go 2-5. And Cam Newton's one of them. Pretty good quarterback, former league MVP to have in New England. There were no OTAs, there were no mini camps, no preseason games. That means the teams with the most continuity are going to succeed. It's a season in which there are fewer undrafted free agents than ever on NFL rosters. If you're a CFL free agent, you have a better chance of cracking an NFL roster under that circumstance, because at least you're a seasoned pro and you're not an unknown kid, 21, 22 years old, coming out of an unknown school. Football, you know what they're like? You know what football coaches like, Roddy? The devil they know rather than the devil they don't. And when you don't have off-season programs, you don't have OTAs and mini camps to showcase yourself, coaches haven't seen you do your thing, they're not going to invest in you.
No, and ask all those free agent kickers that tried out in NFL training camps. Liam Haralaju is good example. 100% in camp gets cut. You get Lowther looking for a deal. It was a rough day for kickers yesterday, if you noticed, with injuries and misses. So I'm hoping that maybe some of those guys will get a call. Hey, a last one. Jeff Kozak writes in and says, shouldn't the commish be still front and center, giving the league updates on what's happening? Any thoughts? I don't expect to see him. What's there to say? But any thoughts on that?
What have we seen from the commissioner over the last 3 or 4 months? Jeff, I hear what you're saying. Where's he been? He was in hiding for a lot of that whole period and process, don't forget, until he showed up doing a video for the Finnish Football League. Rod, the void in leadership is just so apparent. And they don't have a plan. And apparently they're trying to figure it out. What have we heard over the last 6 weeks about this? Not a whole hell of a lot.
Nope, the only plan I hear is continuing to ask for money that they're not getting.
What a plan.
That's the extent of the plan right now. Good chat, my friend.
Okay, boys, have a great week.
Yeah, you too. Arash Madani joining us from downtown Toronto with a great sports update today.
You're watching Rod Peterson On Demand. For more of The Rod Peterson Show, visit rodpeterson.com or follow Rod Peterson on social media.